Welcome back to Ferris Sports Update. Time to check in with Bulldog Cross Country. And we're joined by Brandon Wirth. Brandon, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rod. Thanks for having me.
Obviously, this past weekend, both the men's and women's teams had a chance to get the season underway at Khaki Golf Course, and I know just nice to get back into competition, I'm sure, for you.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Being able to dust the rust off and be able to get some races in was absolutely huge. So all around, we had great performances, men's and women's. I know guys, personally, we had some goals that we wanted to set to be able to sweep the meet, and we did that. So just to be able to come back and being so far ahead of where we were last year was really a good thing to see, and there's a lot of good things on the up and up.
Before we get into some of the highlights, how nice was it to get off to a great start, knowing you've got some tough competition here that awaits over the next couple months?
Yeah, we're going to have some great races coming up against a lot of good teams. We'll eventually face some D1 caliber teams down at Lewis and Louisville. So being able to start off on a fast foot, and especially with the gritty work we've put in all over the summer, being able to work on the grass, especially this month, has been huge. And just to get the spikes back on and run fast, and just to see all that work paying off from the summer. I know a lot of us upperclassmen really stayed in Big Rapids. We wanted to hammer home. We had a lot of goals, and just to be able to see that come to fruition in week one has really given us a lot of optimism moving into the rest of the season.
As we get into some of the highlights, 47th Annual Ray Helsing Bulldog Invitational, a former legendary coach, and nice to run a Khaki Golf Course, only home competition here of the year.
Yeah, home competition is certainly fun, and especially for me, being from the area, being able to see my old high school team and a lot of the other guys that have their high school teams there as well, just to see family and friends and be able to have a lot of support nearby. I know some of the other athletic teams were there, which was awesome. But it was super great, and such a historical meet with Coach Helsing and all the success that he had at Ferris State. So really look forward to this meet every year. It's always gritty, it's always tough since it's the first one, but everybody did well. The freshmen did well. The upperclassmen definitely showed our strengths, and I think we could surprise some teams this year.
I know for you individually, had a chance to win the race, and I know that was obviously a goal going into it, and maybe talk about your own performance.
Yeah, it was a great race overall. I stayed tough through the second half, and that's something I wanted to work on, especially going into this half of the season. All the other guys ran a great race as well. They deserve the credit as well. Noah had a great race, and he really dominated the race up front, and a lot of the upperclassmen drove me behind. So we're just such a deep team this year. We'll have guys that potentially will have 6 different lead Bulldogs in our 6-7 races this year, and that's just how deep we are going into this season. So it was definitely really cool to see everybody's performances, and everybody's performances elevated from a year ago.
As you talk about that depth, top 6 finishers on the men's side, all from Ferris State, 11 of the top 13, and you're able to win the team championship. Always great to see in kind of an individual and team sport.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to have a lot of teams come, Michigan Dearborn and Rochester coming up to compete against us, gave us some good competition out of the gate. So being able to establish that goal and being able to complete it was huge, and that just gives us confidence going into a Michigan State meet that'll be much bigger, much faster, and that we'll be able to keep the wheels turning. And especially for the women, being able to beat Northern was also huge for them, and it was really certainly all-around team success.
What were the course conditions like running on a Saturday morning here in Big Rapids in West Michigan?
Oh, for sure. The weather can change on a dime sometimes, but it was really nice weather. It's always hot being out in the open on the golf course, but there was a lot of certainly concern about dehydration, and I know it got up to some of us, but being able to push through and being able to finish the race strong was really important across the board, and it will be really important to keep that going, especially now that the weather conditions are going to probably change once we get into October, November. Of course, Michigan weather we don't know until the day of, so being able to get the nice weather and get the work in now is definitely going to be beneficial down the rest of the way.
You mentioned the women's team as well. They ran and finished first overall, kind of led by Hannah Brock. Maybe talk about the relationship between the men's and women's teams, and what's that's like working with them in cross country.
Yeah, it's great, and the team culture altogether has gotten so much better over the years, and that's something that we've really wanted to establish. And being able to go eat dinner together at the Rock every night, it's certainly cool to be able to have that interaction and have those practices together. And it's just really a fun sport, and that's one of the reasons I love cross country so much, and I know a lot of others, is that you can have such a fun group of people together that it's really not like a lot of sports. And even though we'll bear the elements and get 5 miles in like we're crazy, but we have a fun time doing it, and that's what's great at the end of the day.
I know for both the men's and women's teams on both sides, really some young runners that saw their first college competition as well.
Yeah, for sure. Being able to get the first one out of the way is a huge relief. Of course, we had a lot of harder workouts and a time trial before the season started, but officially getting that first race in, I know I've been there, so I can understand with underclassmen the relief that they're feeling right now, just to understand what 5 miles is like, going from 3 miles in high school So it's definitely a little bit of a transition period, but they really showed great performances, and they really showed their grittiness, their toughness, and we're really going to need that from them this season to be successful.
Both teams finished first overall, and this week, you mentioned it earlier, off to Michigan State, always a big meet, facing some great competition.
Yeah, Spartan Invite certainly always lives up to its name of being a big race and a big meet, so it's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it, being able to face off against some conference teams, some former conference team regional opponents, maybe even to get a look before we see them in bid races later in the season at Lewis and Louisville and regionals and conferences. So it's really good to see where we're at, and especially in a bigger race where tactics are going to be as more important as ever compared to a smaller race like Bulldog was. So being able to see where we're at and being able to get that race under our belt, to see the strategies, see all the tactics and all the race styles that we need to use, and that'll be really important going into Spartan on Friday.
I know after finishing first, you were named the Gliac Cross Country Runner of the Week. Congratulations. I know you're certainly a team type of guy, but what does that mean, winning an award like that?
Oh, man, it's a blessing, and I thank God for being able to have that honor. And obviously, the team came first in my mind. Obviously, it's nice to get a collegiate win, but the guys, I'm so proud of all of our team, and I truly couldn't get there without them, and that's going to be the way it is all season, and especially going into the indoor and outdoor seasons. Is we're focused, we're tough, we're mentally in it to be. We're coming in as the underdogs. We know that we have some teams that we know we're capable of beating, and we beat some of them last year, and we honestly didn't have our best season in our minds, so we're looking for an even improved and even better season. So it's really a blessing, and we're going to keep it moving forward and keep the train rolling.
I know it was obviously a long weekend for you, not only a cross-country race, but Friday you had a chance to kind of call Ferris State soccer and volleyball for us, and maybe talk about that experience, and obviously I know you're a guy that looks forward to doing some more of that in the future.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's hard to fill your shoes, Rob, I won't lie. So, but no, it was a fantastic opportunity being able to call a great game between Grand Valley and Ferris State, and especially for volleyball, getting their first win in Wink Arena in the 50th anniversary season was fun, and I look forward to those opportunities, and just being able to be here, being able to compete, and also be on the other side in the operations for the other competitors is super cool, and that's one of the biggest blessings I've had here, and it's given me a lot of great opportunities professionally and also personally.
Obviously, great weekend this past weekend, and best of luck this coming weekend as you travel down to Michigan State.
Yeah, thanks, Rob.
That'll do it for this segment of Ferris Sports Update. We'll be back right after this.